not enough, 'cause you love blow and I love pop. And life is like a pie, and I'm a tiny penny rolling up the walls inside. We only said goodbye with words. I died 100 times. You go back to her and I'll go back to. We only said goodbye with words. I died 100 times. You go back to her and I'll go back to I am, and within the reach of my hand, she's sound asleep, and she's sweeter now than the wildest dream could have seen. And I watch her slipping away, though I know I'll be hunting high and low. High, there's no end to the length I go to, hunting high and low. High, there's no end to the length I go to find her again. Upon these my dreams are depending through the dark. I sense the pounding of her heart next to mine. She's the sweetest love I could find, so I guess I'll be hunting high and low. High, there's no end to the length I go to, hunting high and low. my way. Oh, they never begin. Innocence coming a grave at the hands of life's stinking coffee. That's my concept of sin. Does heaven wait, oh heavenly, over the next horizon? Oh, look at us now, quit driving. Some things hurt much more than girls and girls. Look at us now, start cutting. What adds up the way they did when we were young? Look at us now, quit driving. Some things hurt much more than girls and girls. Life's a drive through a glass bowl. What's it do to a young soul? We are deeply concerned. Someone stops for direction. Something responds deep in our engines. We have all been burned. Does heaven wait, oh heavenly, over the next horizon? Oh, look at us now, quit driving. Some things hurt much more than girls and girls. Look at us now, start cutting. What adds up the way they did when we were young? Look at us now, quit driving. Some things hurt much more than girls and girls. Little boy got a heart broke, thinks it makes him some kind of new god. This is one race he won't win, 'cause life's no cruise with a cool chick. Too many folks feeling caustic, but it never pulls in. Bruises the thoughts, greatest dreamers, 'cause this world needs its dreamers. They never wake up. Look at us now, quit driving. Some things hurt much more than girls and girls. Look at us now, start counting. What adds up the way they did when we were young? Look at us now, quit driving. Some things hurt much more than girls and girls. Look at us now, start counting. What adds up the way they did when we were young? Look at us now, driving. Some things hurt much more than girls and girls. Look at us now, start counting. What adds up the way they did when we were young? Didn't know. I didn't know.
All right. Indra, estamos ya. ¿Sí? ¿Podemos arrancar? Dame el go nada más. We can start? Yes? All right. We're going to go in English so all the participants can understand. And welcome to Deep in Thoughts, Volume 3. Today from the beautiful Lamascus family estates. Thank you, Wilford Jr. and Wilford Sr. for hosting us in your beautiful farm today. All right, so we'll start. We'll talk a little bit about each one for the people tuning in, and we'll get started with some questions. All right, so to my left, I have Wilford from the Master Family Estate. He's a third and fourth generation coffee producers. The farm was founded in 1918, and they have been producing amazing coffees ever since. Nowadays, the Lamascus family are a synonym for quality, innovation, tradition, and hard work. They produce some of the world's best coffees and are served at the best coffee shops all over the world, have been used by baristas, brewers, champions numerous times. They have won Producer of the Year many times at the Best of Panama, and anybody who's anybody in the coffee world know the Lamascus family. Thank you for having us today. To his left, we have Mr. Anders Selmer from Copenhagen. He's a founder of renowned restaurant Finca in Copenhagen, which he opened in 2009, I believe. Yes? It's a place focused on a relaxed setting with amazing local fresh seafood, a great wine menu, great cocktails, and it's a must visit when you're visiting Copenhagen. Before this, Anders had numerous restaurants since the 90s. He worked in Noma, both as sommelier and manager. He runs other businesses in Copenhagen, and he produces wine in Denmark also, which I think we will try today. Thank you for being with us, Anders, here today.
Thanks for having me.
And to his left, Senor Daniel Newport, a sixth-generation winemaker from the prestigious Portugal wine producers Newport Wines. He works closely with his father, Dirk, who transformed the family business from producing just port wines to making amazing dry table wines. Dirk has worked in vineyards across the world and is fully back with the family business where he continues to innovate with a fresh perspective, but always keeping the long family traditions alive. Daniel has also been working with Panama Coffee and is wanting to explore this area more. Welcome, Daniel.
Yes.
All right, so Daniel, I think Newport was founded in 1842, correct? Yes? So as I mentioned in the bio, here where we're standing today, I've been making coffee since 1918. So both businesses are over 100 years. Can you guys tell me the advantages and disadvantages of having such a rich tradition? How do you guys stay relevant and reinvent yourself without losing track of your heritage? We can start with either of the two Lamascus here.
Okay, first of all, thank you, Benito, Mario, very good friends of mine for many years, like brothers. So thank you very much for choosing us. Okay, what I was telling you during the tour, I am the third generation. Wilford Jr. is the fourth generation. We have not stopped producing coffee since 1918 for 108 years. Since my grandparents on both sides started coffee farms, now we have the fifth generation here, and his son, who came with him from Panama City. They love it here. His son, especially his son, he's almost 3 years old, and he loves being here. He can give you the tour. He knows what washed coffee is, natural coffee is. So as you can tell from what I just said, this, I'm sure it will continue. This is not like you see in normally some of the experts that say that after the second generation, 70% disappear of the third generation, 90% of the business disappear. Here, I feel that we're going to continue because you know what? We're part of the mountains. We're part of what is around here. It's like something that is native of us. And so since my two grandparents' families started coffee, we haven't stopped doing coffee. And I am so very happy that a few industries in the world are like us, like coffee here. If I give you an example, yesterday you went to for a talk with Ricardo Coiner and Victoria Coiner. Ricardo's grandfather came from Canada, and one of my grandfathers came from the US. They were good friends. They used to go into town, into a bar in town, walk or take the horse. In that bar, only English was spoken, people from all other places. So my grandfather and his grandfather were very good friends. They did business together. They grew coffee. His mother, the daughter of his grandfather, and my father did business together. They did business, coffee business together. They were friends, small town. Ricardo and I were two of the 7 founders of the Specialty Coffee Association of Panama. You guys are here because of the Specialty Coffee Association of Panama. No other reason. Okay? So Victoria, his daughter, and Wilford are close friends. So that is 4 generations, 1, 2, 3, 4, in the mountains of a underdeveloped country in the middle of nowhere, you know? It's something that we're very satisfied about it. I want to let Wilford give his feeling to what the question was.
So I have a slightly different answer. The main disadvantage of having this heritage of a family business, multi-generational, multi-family business, is that the idea for to continue this passion must be in the family. The family grows as we get bigger, then we have more people, but at the same time, it gets diluted into a larger family. So that's the challenge to have leadership in the family that want to continue this drive. Now, the main advantage is that whatever you do in terms of work, of course, any coffee producer, any wine producer, any restaurateur, they want to provide high quality. High quality, it's probably the majority of the people in this room, it's more driven into providing a high quality product than into the making the profit. So in our case, that's things. But having to carry the legacy of our family, our last name is our brand, that is the biggest thing, it's the biggest motivation. And of course, when you attach the name of the country to that, it's even bigger. But the main thing, the biggest motivation of all, specifically in my case, in my generation, is the fact that we were farmers, only farmers. My great-grandfather, my grandfather were farmers, and then on my father's generation, it transitioned into something special. So I fell into the wave of something special, and now I have that, responsibility, but at the same time, a lot of passion to continue to this in this wave.
Wilford Junior and Senior. Daniel, what about you? The company changed focus not too long ago with making wines with your father. Can you tell me a little bit about having an eye on the past and an eye on the future?
Yeah, I think first, thank you very much that we can be here. It's very inspiring to not visit wineries, visit something else, and actually learn from coffee and try to implement that in our world. I think it has all to do with respect to the past, in a way. But not everything what is old or tradition, maybe it's good or might work for the future. So I think we have to find a balance in between respecting the past, but also do that what we love. And I can say each generation of Newport, they are all very stubborn, and they all have their different characters. And there is maybe not one that is better than the other. They are just different. And with this respect, you can do that. But when my father started to make wine, it was not very easy in the beginning. But then my grandfather let also my father do. So it was very nice. And we were a family, a port house. So we were kind of like, we were just buying port and young port. And then our job was to age, to blend, to sell. And today it switched a little bit, it changed. So we became also growers and we worked together with farmers. And for me, for the future, and especially when I come here and see how much tradition you have here in the fields, I think that we have to focus a lot on the growing and on the people. And as example, often I say like we have our own grapes and our own farm, and we buy grapes, and often the grapes we buy, they are better than our own. And then the people look at me like, well, man, Daniel, then you do a shit job, no? And I'm like, well, I don't know. Yes, we have a lot to learn. And, these growers, they have old knowledge and knowledge that I very like. There is also a lot of things they do I don't like. But our job is to be the good example in the region. And there is, again, the respect to people. I think it's very important. My father is nice. He's nice to me. But also I'm sometimes, I tell him my opinion and he tell me my opinion. And then family is always, it's very complicated. Huh? It's fantastic, but it's very complicated. And more character you have, in a way, worse it gets.
Thank you, Annette. I think we all can relate to that. Anders, you've been in the industry since the 90s, and there's a very vibrant coffee and wine scene in Copenhagen. Can you tell me a little bit about the changes you've seen in your guest preferences in terms of wine and what you've seen in coffee? And where do you see this going in the next 5 years?
Here we go. Well, I had my first coffee shop back in '95. And back then, you could only get like good Italian roasts, like Ili Cafe and stuff. I guess back then it was possible for them to buy better beans before the market was starting to get under pressure. And then in 2004, I had the World Champion Baristaships. I hosted that, and for that I got on a trip. But back then, I don't know why, but the Nordic countries were all over that competition and won first, second, and third prize always. And this year it was Sweden and Norway who won. But I got invited to a trip with them in 2005 because of this hosting to El Salvador. And it was really, really interesting for me to discover coffee. But what really struck me back then was that at the coffee farms, they never tasted their own coffee. They had Nescafe for breakfast. Even the best ones were like, it was crazy. They didn't know how to roast. They didn't know that process at all. And that has come far now. You can see that. But I understand that this is pioneering work still. It's only been 20 years since, and it's been a revolution in the market of what's going on. I mean, so of course that you can see that all over the world, that people are going crazy for good coffee. But it was definitely not like that 20 years ago. We have some very renowned and good coffee roasters and coffee bars. And it's just been going up for the last 20, 25 years, for sure. Where do I see the future? I see the future that the coffee people, the people who are interested in coffee, will be more and more onto what's going on in the farms, because the coffee is made in the farms. Of course, you can change it a lot with the roasting profile and stuff, but I mean, the main work is here, and the terroir only comes from here. I think going more towards organic, saving the planet more, is got to be an issue. Understand right now there's not a lot of organic growing because it's difficult, but I'm sure it's going to be developed, because it's a matter of science to find out how that's going to work. So that's what I really hope is the future of this. Yeah.
I want to add something in the timing. You know, you mentioned 1995. In 1995 was when the Specialty Coffee Association of Panama started. By 1996 is the first time the Best of Panama begins. So this year we're going to turn the 30th edition of the Best of Panama. And that was the first competition for cupping coffee in the world. And now look at where we are.
Yes. But I can see we have the same development in wine. When I also in the 90s, I started to discover biodynamic wines. And I found out that the best wines in the world, also back then, were actually biodynamic. They just didn't tell it. Domaine Romanée-Conti, Domaine Pocastel, Arayas, all these guys, they were growing biodynamically, but they didn't tell anywhere because they were selling at an old market. So they still don't tell it because there's too many people who are afraid of, oh, that's natural, or that's something like that. So they still don't tell it, but that's actually what they do. So that's how I discovered this is really interesting. And wine has gone through a big phase also in these 25 years. A lot of beautiful growers now growing natural wines or organic wines and biodynamic wines. Then you can use a little bit of sulfur or not. But it's it's really interesting, and I think coffee will go the same way. But wine people have a 1,000-year-old history to lean upon. So that they can go back in the books and see how they did it 100 years ago. And that's what a lot of natural and modern producers do today. And you don't have those books in coffee. That's why it's pioneering work. So it's a lot of work for you guys. But I think it's super interesting, and it's very beautiful to follow. And for sure, the quality is rising and rising and rising.
Thank you, Anders. I'll bounce that same question to you guys. How have you seen your clients' preferences vary in the past 10 years in terms of cup profile?
Well, I think that I'm going to kind of repeat more or less the same thing. But so back when we started the Best of Panama, like Wilford said, we were competing only with traditional varieties. Then in 2004, grower La Esmeralda put a different coffee, of course, blind cupping on the table, and everybody from the very beginning, all the international judges, that they are not supposed to talk about the coffee that they are cupping. It was for them impossible not to mention that there was a different coffee that was out of this world. These guys are bringing coffee from Ethiopia, whatever. So at the end, it was discovered that it was a geisha. And everything was transformed into traditional commercial coffee growers, except when we did the auction that we saw a little bit better than very, very low prices that were making us lose our farms and our business. We had to sell a farm back then, and that farm was converted into a cattle farm because it was 1,200 meters. So anyway, so as the time continued, more and more people started planting geisha. So the geisha was, as far as variety, the preferred variety from their own processes. One year, I remember Wilford was in Taiwan, and he texted me, Dad, why don't we do anaerobically processed coffee like my friend here next to me from Costa Rica is doing? He's putting his coffee in a water tank, sealing the tank, and letting it ferment anaerobically for whatever, X many days. So right away, we went and bought a few tanks like you saw down there, the blue ones and black ones, plastic ones, and we started filling up. It was harvesting season pretty much. Started filling it up with coffee, and then there was a boom for anaerobically processed coffee, tasting different, like more fruits, more berries, blackberries, blueberries, winey sometimes, and there was a big preference, so it started growing up, and then higher elevations of coffee in different farms, not only in ours, started showing up in the cupping tables for the clients, and now, 6 years later, the preference is more for the clean terroir, unless you do, which we do, a very clean processed coffee, or what I call a classic natural, that is the fruit that you put it in the drying beds without fermenting, or you do a very well fermented with a lot of care for 2-3 days fermentation. You can combine the fruit flavors that without hiding the delicate flavors of a geisha. You can have a very, very good anaerobically processed geisha, natural geisha. We can also do an anaerobically processed wash, but let's say natural geisha. And so the first time we won the Best of Panama on both categories, geisha wash and geisha natural. The geisha natural that year, 2018 is when the farm was founded. 2018, it was a anaerobically processed natural, and that coffee sold in the auction higher than the wash process. So back then, it was very good for many of the clients, but things have changed a little bit. When they find that we have a 2,000 meter geisha, they will mostly prefer a clean wash or a clean natural or a clean anaerobically processed coffee. What do you think? Well, for you, because you're the one who started this with me.
I think that the industry in general started with different preferences. our farm, of course, we rely on geisha a lot, but our farm became very famous because of our Catuai natural. And the reason why is Catuai is a very traditional variety that can be shown in a specialty coffee, but it's a more traditional variety. But the fact that it was natural uh, brought a different profile of coffee that was not very common back then in the industry. So then it started moving towards the geisha, and then the anaerobic geishas and the anaerobic coffees, and the industry and the consumers started maturing into the coffee. One thing is what was present to you at the beginning and converted you into specialty coffee, and then people started exploring more and be more open to different profiles. And I think that it has varied a lot in the perception of the producer. Is like, oh, now people is preferring washed coffees, but not necessarily. I think that it's more about now people is choosing their preferences. So the market is opening to more washed coffees, more clean coffees than they did in the past. But there's people for all of the profiles. When a few years back, everybody was looking for the more exotic, and now it's just because people is understanding their own preferences.
That's right. Thank you, Wilfred. Daniel, I'll bounce it back to you. How have you seen in your years back at Newports the changes in style, preferences, restaurants, buyers?
We sometimes we say like if you guys don't like the wine, not the wine is the problem, you are the problem. And when I hear that the first time, I was like, oh fuck, this sounds very arrogant. But then we were thinking about it because often you hear or you learn in school from your teachers that you need to make wine for your client, your customer, and all this. But then, we cannot make every client on the planet happy. So we do what we like, and we try to find people that like what we do. And because everybody has a different taste. And I think what I love about Panama and geisha coffee, is a different style. Not everybody like this the first time. Like me, I'm like, you will kill me. Sometimes I drink my coffee with milk. Not a geisha, but I needed to learn first, get into this whole coffee scene. It's very different, and I think the wine is like that. When my father started to make wines in Douro, one wine called Charme, what is a very he tried to do a Burgundy in terroir that has nothing to do with Burgundy, without Pinot, in a region that is very, very hot, and people were laughing at him and said like, well, what is this? It's like a rosé, and they didn't took him serious. And now people like the wine very much, but my father, he'd continue, because he believed in that, and I think geisha is a very good example because it's very delicate, very elegant, very specific, and I mean, you all guys, we believe in it, no? And I think we cannot wait for people, this is too light, this tastes like tea, this and that. So that the market changed, for sure, and I think for good. Like today, our wines, they are way more accepted because in the beginning was like, only 12 alcohol, cannot be serious wine. And we just like, no. Our seriousness, it's more in the vineyards, old vineyards, the way you farm, and then in the cellar, try to be delicate and not destroy what you did in the fields. That's the idea, and all this without being arrogant. And I think Panama needs this confidence, like Portugal needs the confidence as well. Because if you travel, you go in a wine shop. Now it's much better, but 20 years ago there was no Portugal. It didn't exist. It was Spain, France, Italy, Germany, and maybe if there was a Portuguese wine, was somewhere in Spain, on the bottom. And I love Spanish wine. It's not like against Spain, but still, we can be Portugal. We have the right to be here, and I think Panama is very, very similar in that, and I think positive for us. Yeah.
Thank you, Daniel. So talking about being a little innovative, disruptive, Anders, can you tell me a little bit about your wine project in Denmark? It was the first time I've tried Denmark wine the other day with you. Tell us a little more about that project, please.
Well, I planted the first vineyard I had in 2005, But I left that with a varietal of grapes that I adore. I didn't care about where they were planted. I just cared about the varietal. And this was the experiment for me, just to see how that worked. So it was Riesling, Grüner Veltliner, Pinot Gris, Sauvignon, so forth. And some of them worked in some years and some didn't. But the one that always did good was the hybrid we also planted, which is called Solaris. So when I left this project and started a new project in 11, and the wine you can taste now downstairs, it's planted in 11, is pure Solaris. Solaris is a hybrid that's made in Germany. It's a hybrid between Sauvignon Blanc and a Russian grape that's very resistant to humidity, especially, and we have a lot of problems with humidity in Denmark. With the climate change, just from 11 to now, I can say that we really have a problem with way too much alcohol. So this one you're going to taste is 14 and a half, and I'm working on different ways of getting that down. Of course, it's possible, but this is things we haven't really talked about is climate change on this trip. But let's leave it now for. But you can go taste it. It's because it's a hybrid and it's super resilient. We don't have to spray at all, so we don't spray at any time in these vineyards. No sulfur, no copper, and there's no sulfur in the wine either, so it's pure. We call it 000 because we don't even spray. And then it's called naked in Danish, but you will see downstairs. So that's the wine project. And I also wanted to say about the coffee, just for the evolution. We talked a little bit about that. Because it's very evident on where I'm standing that in the past 20 years, of course, we've gone from a dark roast to a light roast. That's for sure is super important. And all of a sudden talking about terroir in coffee, that's never been before. Back then, everything was mixed. You could not get a single origin coffee 20, 25 years ago. So that's definitely the and then the pricing. It's actually funny to see that we were just in Panama City and we had a cup of coffee for $12. I think that would be even a hard sell in Denmark. Not an easy sell at least. So I think Europe has a problem with pricing. I think I understand that the Asians pay top dollar for these coffees, and it's probably more difficult to get those prices in Europe. So I don't know when that's going to end, because it doesn't look like the prices are going to fall, but I think the Europeans will have to look at coffee in a different way, that it can be expensive, just like we've done with wine and with so many other things. So let's see. I think there's some ways to go in that field.
Thank you, Anders. All right, I want to talk a little bit about innovation. Wilfred, you have innovated with processing technique at the farm, like your reactor tanks, which we saw earlier, fermentation, of course, your drying cool rooms. Daniel, also, you have innovated with fresher wines from the farm. Can you tell me a little bit about how this has helped you create new flavor profiles, how you still respect terroir, and how you see processing evolving in both fields? We'll start with the Lamascus family, either one.
So one thing that my father always says is that we are designers of flavors of coffee. So it's very interesting because that time before the Geisha coffee, right before the Geisha coffee, there was a conversation among buyers and judges for the Best of Panama saying that the Panamanian coffee profile should be a chocolate-style coffee. So that was the perception of the market. One of the main things we need to understand is that sometimes the market doesn't really understand what they want, and then we have to be a little bit behind, above that. So when he says designers of coffee, it comes to the idea of us showing our potential customers a wide variety of flavors within one lot or within one variety. So it can be anaerobic, natural, geisha, but that range can provide you different cup profiles. So I will let him speak a little bit more about the innovation technique, but I think that it is something very important to understand that the more the higher spectrum we show of potential flavors, the more market we can win.
Okay, first of all, I totally agree with you when you said that we're way behind wine. Wine has been around for thousands of years and records for 200 years of anything that you did, anything from the pH, the whatever. So we are just kind of following some of the steps that the wine industry have done, including the word terroir, okay? So in the process, for example, every year we do all kind of processes. We have here a team of, so we have a team in the mill that I call the DT, Dream Team. The Dream Team is the coppers who do the processes, the drying, the different innovations. Like today, there is a new innovation where you put the mosto from a geisha from the day before, from Torre into the geisha from Plano to see how it cups. So we have been doing many experiments. We have the advantage that we have, I don't want to say a lot because for Central America or for other countries it's not a lot, but we have a lot of geisha. And we have many terroirs, like I was saying before. We have geisha that we have caught at 375 meters. Then we jump to 1,200 meters, 1,400 meters, and all the way to 2,100 meters, and we caught those geishas. And we can tell what each one is and can do. So we ferment in reactors, we ferment in bags, we ferment in vacuum seal, we inject CO2, we measure the pH, we do all that. But at the end, since we are very way behind in high tech, like you have the labs in the wine producing countries. Remember, wine producing countries are rich countries. Coffee producing countries are Honduras and Panama, Nicaragua, Guatemala, Ethiopia, Congo, Rwanda. Indonesia is a bit better. So there is no money for that. So we have to do it like 4 weeks after when the process is done, then we cup it. And they cup it with a dream team, including him, 8, 10 of us. And we then say, oh, this one didn't work. And then we do it again, and we do it next year. But we have come with some very good processes that have shined in the different competitions and for the different clients. But we continue every year to do a different process. So let's change around a little bit. Many different people from around the world come, like the beer industry in Panama. They know the techniques to like ferment cold temperatures, then put nitrogen, whatever, different processes they have done in wine, beer. Or if you take China, where they produce coffee, the Chinese government invest a lot in technology for the growers to innovate and do different processes. So we have many Chinese clients that go to the coffee producing areas of China, and then they come with the techniques here. They say, can we do a process well for, we're gonna do this, we're gonna put it here, then we're gonna put the pulp here, the mucil, we're gonna remove the mucil, put the mucil. So we do all that because we want to learn. There was a year when we have an expert who spent like 2 weeks here with us that they use yeast, to put in coffee. A lot of people put yeast in coffee, which is very good. Everybody puts yeast in coffee, almost everybody. So we started putting yeast in our coffee, 3 different strengths of yeast from different companies, and copying the coffees after the yeast, no yeast, yeast, yes, yeast, no yeast, no yeast. We decided not to use yeast because it didn't change. It might change. There might be other yeast, same as with organic coffee. I am begging the big companies to come out with a fungicide in a rainy country like us that can organically or biological fungicide that can kill the fungi that kill our plantation. If we go dead from white to black to organic, I will be planting potatoes in 2 years and onions and rotate and then rub that crop and then rotate the crop, we will disappear. That's why People in Panama don't produce organic because they don't know what to do. 70%, at least 40% of the members of SCAP are people like them that came from outside with other mentality, like the Altieris that you went there, the whatever, with other mentalities or the technologies and all that, and nobody does. Very few people do a hectare here and there of organic because doing organic here up until now, I wish somebody in like Novak will come up with it. What's the name of your company that does the thinning formula? That was selling a lot of money on that. If they come out with an organic or biological fungicide, and last year we used 2,500 bags of organic fertilizer in our farms. Okay, I don't think that nobody in Panama uses as much as organic fertilizer. So right now, sorry that I extended myself, but before I forget, aguacatillo is a lot that we call aguacatillo because aguacatillo is a fruit that the birds call the quetzal, the resplendent quetzal eats. The resplendent quetzal is the most beautiful bird in the world, according to many people. As a matter of fact, the currency of Guatemala is called quetzal because of the bird. So we have in the mountains, high in the mountains, we have that tree. This year we did it 25 years ago. We had started collecting the seeds. I have nursery here. I'm gonna do corridors in all of our farms from where the seeds were found all the way down with the trees that produce the fruit called aguacatillo, the quetzal seed, to make it like more attractive for birds, species, of everything. So the process, I changed everything from everything to the process. The process has to be done. We need to do processing, different type of process every year. We have the capacity, we have the team, and we have a lot of coffee to do it. So we will continue, Benny, to doing processes.
Thank you, Wilfred. What about you, Daniel, with the new lines, the fresher wines? What profiles are you looking for, and how have you achieved them, similar to the new profiles here in Panama?
Well, first of all, I think people are today looking for more fresh wine. I think they want lower alcohol and more acidic profiles than they used to, and less oaky. We went from a Robert Parker regime of very heavy oaky wines to a very light regime of easy drinkable wines. So that's for sure, and that's the trend. I do have a fish restaurant, so it's mostly white wine. It's 98% white wine and champagnes. But I also see the preference across the board in other restaurants that they sell more and more whites and less red. So that's what we see. Yeah. By the way, I forgot to tell about my own wine, just so you know. Denmark is not a wine-producing country. It's a kind of crazy experiment to do it. Very good. So just so you know, no somos gringos, somos vikingos.
I asked it.
Daniel, what about you on your side?
Well, we like, well, sometimes people think that Newport only does lighter wines, and we love lighter wines, but we also look for lengths in wines. And we didn't invent or innovate actually so much. I think that what you guys were saying about the coffee world is lacking knowledge and technology and all that. I think in the wine world maybe it's a bit too much technology and too much knowledge, and we sometimes forgot how to make things with feelings, with like an example. In Portugal now, unfortunately, more and more the field blends are disappearing, and because of course it's more easy to have one variety, you can control it perfectly and all that. And also because when you look at the field blend, you are kind of, if you don't know that, you are really lost, because some are green, some are overripe, some are perfect, and you need to have a certain feeling to pick this. But we believe very much in this. So a lot of things that we do, and my father did, he did that because he never studied wine. And the problem of studying, sometimes it makes you close your vision, and that's why I'm very happy to be here, because coffee has a different way of looking things, and I think it's very important. And also a lot of the things that feel today like innovative or new or modern or whatever, they are actually very, very old. And this is what we're looking for, like things that are good, and a lot of knowledge is here, and now we just have to adapt to now. And also, don't be scared of sometimes do shit. Yeah, because by mistakes you learn, no? And we try a lot of things, and that's why for our sales team, for our whole team is horrible. We in import are a disaster because we have too many wines here. For Gobi, our importer is like looking at our list is why you need to make 100 different wines, and we are like, I know it's a problem, but it's a way for us to learn, and we do. And not only Portugal, but Portugal as a small country has so many different terroirs. It's crazy, and yeah, we didn't spoke about the climate change, but it's I think there is a lot of climate change, but at the same time, not everything is climate change. Also, the way we farm changed a lot, and it changed to worse, not to better. And when I look here outside of the window, I really feel like emotional because. Something like this in a not tropical climate like Douro, we would love to have, and we work on that to look at the hill and this is actually looks like a mountain, a forest, but at the same time is a plantation. In wine, often we don't have that. We have only vineyards, only plantation, and we have to change that. At least in regions that are hot, I think we experiment and we see good results. But it takes time, yeah. But we have time. No, it's nothing. What we do is for now or for myself. It's more for next generation.
Beautiful. And you led me right into my last question, which is for everybody. We'll go down the line about sustainability. Where do you see your business going over the next 20 years, keeping quality supplies, climate change, and all that? Let's try to be brief and go down the line. Where do you see that business going 20 years?
So I feel that when I was growing up, of course, standing up here was much colder than it is right now. That's a reality. And that changes completely into the quality of the coffee. But at the same time, like the idea of getting coffee in higher altitudes have pushed us into finding land, into higher places that are normally used for intensive agriculture, that there's no trees, like Daniel was mentioning. Or it was used for cattle, and now we are making them into forest because we believe that our coffees are grown better in a forest. So I think that that's my main pride for our industry into what we can apport into the sustainability of the future of this industry.
Yeah, more or less the same. Every year we have been planting at least 20,000. This past year, 40,000. 20 was replanting of new geisha plants in areas that have been intensive agriculture for 65, 75 years, rotating crops from onions, potatoes, whatever. Now we have not only the geisha coffee, but we have 7 other plants like canopy, windbreakers, fruit trees, anything that covers the coffee, because the soils have been lost. The soils were dead, are totally dead. They have nothing going with them. So we need to supply them with a lot of organic matter. We need to supply them with a lot of organic fertilizer in order to recuperate the soil. We already recuperated the soil. Now we have birds, we have mammals, we already have birds, butterflies, pollination in between plants, because we have recuperated, I think that at least some 35 hectares in the past 5 or 6 years of intensive agriculture to canopy, including 2,300 plants of coffee.
Amazing, amazing. Anders?
Yeah, for coffee, like you, I think it's beautiful around here, but I think it's a thing that's going to only grow, that you need more and more sustainable way of doing things in this field, the organic thing I talked about before. Wine-wise, for sure, a whole new young generation is looking into this, and more vignerons, especially in Europe, I know, are going towards organic farming, biodynamic farming, and talking about biodiversity and so forth. It's been very monoculture vineyards in many places, too much. So that's also going to change, I'm sure, to the better. And then the last thing is fish, because I have a fish restaurant. And I have to say, in Europe, we get less and less fish. There's less fish in the oceans, there's no doubt about it. We're going to farming now. And we probably have to farm on land instead of in the sea in order to control the quality of the water. So that's going to be the future of fish in Europe. I'm so happy to hear that you still have a lot of fish here. You guys go fishing and there's still plenty. Take care of it because it's not going to last. I really, that's it's beautiful for you, but watch out.
Señor Daniel.
Yeah, I think I will maybe, a part of that, I believe we need to have, we will plant more trees, see where there are good places for vineyards, and not just think about efficiency and how much we can put on 1 hectare. We are starting to work with animals, and then I would like to maybe mention a different aspect of sustainability if we speak about Douro. It's this the culture of the grape growers. So even if we buy a lot of grapes and they are not organic, but when I show our biodynamic teacher or our pruning guy and we go there and spend the afternoon with them, drink a glass of wine, their wine, and how they were farming, and they have 2 hectares, 4 hectares, because this is now a critical moment where they slowly gonna die because younger generation doesn't want to do this job, and I cannot blame, because it's like you don't earn very much money, and then also in society it's not cool to be a farmer. And one of the goals that I try that we keep the growers, we motivate the growers, we work more together with them, we create value, we create value for wine. And it's not only to make wine for very expensive wine, no, but just not so cheap that nature is nature will pay the bill, or the quality will pay the bill, or somebody pay the bill. And I think they are part of the culture, and this culture it's very nice, and I hope that we find a way that it's not going the other way, that we only go with mechanization, only go with tractors, only go this way. Even when you can be in other coincide, you can be very sustainable, if you want. But for me, the people are part of this, and we have to include them somehow, at least in this area. So we will see. Spending my time drinking wine with them,
There you go.
to learn from them.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you everybody at the panel. Thank you, Wilford Jr. and Sr. for hosting us today. Anders, Daniel, thank you so much. We carry on with the rest of our program. Cheers. We're drinking a beautiful 87 port. Thank you to Daniel and Gobi and Ivan for that.
That's also, I forgot, this was beautiful because
In a cupping.
because it was made in a way from my grandfather, and then it was bottled. My father bottled it, and now the 6th generation drink it. So it's perfect.
Beautiful. Thank you, guys.